time about my cryptic pregnancy. From a very young age, I was diagnosed with PCOS, which is polycystic ovary syndrome, which means you have very irregular periods and it's usually harder for you to get pregnant. And at 20, I had a pap smear and they found abnormal cells that were high risk, so I had to have a LETS procedure. And again, I was told if you have this procedure, it's going to be harder for you to get pregnant. So I was under the impression I was going to find it really hard to get pregnant and I'd probably have to go through IVF. No, IVF. Fast track to 21, I have an eating disorder. So again, my period is really irregular, probably because of PCOS and the fact I'm not eating enough. And when I'm standing up, I'm getting really lightheaded, really dizzy, and you know, all the sort of signs that come along with an eating disorder. However, my mum didn't know and she was like, you need to go get a blood test and see what's going on, like I'm worried about you. And I was like, no mum, I'm fine, like I know what they're gonna say. It's me, I'm doing it. She convinced me to get a blood test, so I did, and then I just never went back for the results because I was like, I know what is going on. Started working out even more and I started getting really bad heartburn, and mum was like, go to the doctor and get your results. You need to find out what's going on. So I was like, fine. I went to the doctor to get the results and he's like, everything's fine, everything's normal, it's just, you're just pregnant, that's probably why. And I was like, excuse me? I'm pregnant? No, I'm not. And he's like, yeah, well, look, we'll do a test here and we'll just make sure. And lo and behold, I was pregnant. So I had no idea how far along I was because I was irregular. I had no period for like a year probably before that. So I had to go get an ultrasound to find how far along I was. I was 5 months pregnant. 5 months pregnant. I was shitting myself because I was doing all the things you shouldn't do. Like I was drinking, I was eating soft cheeses, I was not doing the right things. I had a super stressful pregnancy. I was like, oh my gosh, is the baby okay? Like I was so far along, so I was going through with this pregnancy. Actually, as soon as I found out I was pregnant, I had a bump, like I swear the next week. It was crazy. Of May 2020, I gave birth to a beautiful, healthy baby girl and everything was fine. So I was so lucky that that happened. It worked out in the end. Yeah, and I wouldn't change it for the world.
She's so like, I don't know, she's so happy about it. She's so positive. I mean, she's had the baby now, so I guess she can't change it, but oh, thank goodness her mum like told her, go back to the doctors, get your results. Like now, the fact that she wasn't going to go back and just, oh, I can't imagine how scared she was. And she said like she basically had an eating disorder and she wasn't eating enough and she was like over-exercising and she was, you know, drinking and just doing all the things that you shouldn't do when you're pregnant. Oh, she must have been terrified. I think I would be. Like, I think you would be anyway. Even if your lifestyle was great, I think to hear that you're 5 months pregnant, from like nothing to 5 months pregnant, I find that so scary. You hear so many stories about women who just, they get their periods normal, or, I mean, she didn't get a period at all and that was normal for her, so it wasn't something that she was really alarmed by. But you hear about these cryptic pregnancies, I feel like, more now. I don't know whether it's because social media is like such a big thing, so it's more of a platform for people to talk about them, meaning we hear more about them. I don't know, but that's terrifying. That's so scary. But I mean, in every situation I think where there's been, where I've seen something about a cryptic pregnancy, the woman is always grateful for what happened. Like she's never like, because that's my biggest fear, I think, and I think maybe that's a lot of like girls, women's biggest fears is, you know, you're going to find out that you're pregnant one day and you're going to be so far along, you're not going to feel ready and it's just going to be stressful and you're going to have the baby and things just aren't going to work out. But everyone I see, it does always work out. So that's interesting to me, to be honest, because I mean, she would have had, what, 4 months to prepare? I mean, by that time, it's probably only really just sunk in that she is pregnant and she's actually going to be having the baby. Yeah, it's just crazy to me. It's so crazy that you can just not have really any symptoms of pregnancy and be pregnant.